I always believed my parents loved us equally. That was the lie I grew up with. I'm Emily Carter, 32 years old, born and raised in Connecticut, the kind of place where people smile politely and hide their secrets behind white fences and charity galas. My parents were respected, my father a financial advisor, my mother a stay-at-home mom who somehow always had a new Lexus and a fresh blowout. And then there was my sister, Lauren. Lauren was sunshine, Lauren was beauty, Lauren was potential. I was responsibility. From the time I was 14, I was told, "You're so mature for your age, Emily." Which is adult code for, you don't need help. Lauren, on the other hand, needed everything. When she cried, my parents rushed. When she failed, they defended her. When she wanted something, the question was never if, only how soon. Still, I believed that when it came to something as serious as my trust fund, things would be different. Because that money wasn't just money. It was my future. The trust fund. My maternal grandfather, Henry Whitmore, built a real estate empire from nothing. He grew up poor, worked brutal hours, and made one promise to himself. My grandchildren will never be dependent on anyone. He adored me. Not Lauren. Not my parents. Me. I was the granddaughter who sat with him for hours, listening to stories about bad deals and smart risks. I asked questions. I remembered details. When he got sick, I visited every weekend, even when my parents were too busy. So when he passed away, his will reflected that bond. I was 21 when I learned the truth. Grandpa left me a $2.5 million trust fund, managed until I turned 30. The purpose was clear and written in unmistakable legal language. Education, home purchase, business investment, long-term financial security. The trustee, my parents. At the time, I didn't question it. Why would I? They were my parents. Lauren's phase. Lauren never knew what she wanted. She dropped out of college twice. Started a fashion blog that lasted 6 months. Decided she was going to be a yoga instructor, then quit after 3 classes. Every failure was explained away. "She's finding herself," my mother would say. When I got a full scholarship to grad school, my parents barely noticed. When Lauren announced she wanted to travel Europe to discover her true identity, it was treated like a spiritual calling. That was the first time I felt something was wrong. At dinner, Lauren waved her phone excitedly. "Paris, Rome, Santorini, Barcelona," she said. "I want to do it right, not backpacking like luxury." My father nodded thoughtfully. "It's important to invest in experiences," he said. I laughed, thinking it was a joke. "I hope you're paying for that yourself," I said lightly. The table went quiet. Lauren's smile vanished. My mother shot me a warning look. "Emily," she said slowly, "your sister deserves support too." That word again. Deserves. The first red flag. 2 months later, I received an automated email from the trust's financial institution. Account activity notification. I almost deleted it. Almost. But something made me open it. There it was. Withdrawal, $480,000. My hands started shaking. I immediately called my father. "Oh, that," he said casually, "administrative adjustment." $500,000 is not an adjustment, I snapped. There was a pause. Then the tone changed. "Emily, you need to calm down. This money is being used responsibly." "For what?" Another pause. "Family matters." That night, I couldn't sleep. Because deep down, I already knew. Europe. Lauren's Instagram confirmed everything. Private jets. 5-star hotels. Designer dresses. Champagne breakfasts with captions like, "Living my truth sparkles." I did the math. The hotels alone were $15,000 a week. Then came the yachts. The Michelin star restaurants. The shopping sprees in Milan. Every post felt like a slap. Every smile stolen from my future. I called my mother this time. She didn't deny it. Your sister needed this, she said. You'll still have plenty left. How much? I whispered. Silence. How much is left? She exhaled. Emily, money isn't everything. That's when I realized something terrifying. They didn't see the trust fund as mine. They saw it as family money. And Lauren was their priority. The final statement. 3 weeks later, I demanded the full trust report. The numbers didn't lie. Total withdrawn, $2,476,000. Remaining balance, $24,118. I stared at the screen until my vision blurred. 11 years. 11 years of security. Gone. For a vacation. Not even an education. Not a business. A luxury fantasy. I drove to my parents' house that night. They were waiting for me, like they knew this moment would come. Lauren wasn't there. She was still in Europe, living my life. I walked in, holding the statement. You stole from me, I said. My father stood. We managed funds as we saw fit. My mother crossed her arms. You were always so independent. Lauren needed more. That was it. That was the sentence that broke something in me. Because in that moment, I understood the truth. They didn't think they'd ever face consequences. They were wrong. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't throw things or threaten them the way movies make you think people do when their world collapses. I walked out of my parents' house calmly, holding that trust statement like it was a receipt from a bad restaurant. Because somewhere between seeing that $24,118 balance and hearing my mother say Lauren needed more, something inside me went cold. And cold people don't make mistakes. The lawyer. The next morning, I sat across from Daniel Hargrove, a trust litigation attorney in Manhattan who had handled cases worth 10 times my loss. He read the documents silently, page after page. When he finally looked up, his expression wasn't sympathetic. It was sharp. Emily, he said, this isn't mismanagement. I leaned forward. It's theft, isn't it? He nodded. Blatant breach of fiduciary duty, unauthorized withdrawals, personal enrichment. If this goes to court, your parents lose. And Lauren. She benefited knowingly, he said. That matters. For the first time since discovering the truth, I breathed fully. They weren't untouchable. They were just arrogant. Playing dumb. Daniel gave me one instruction. Don't confront them again. Let them believe you're defeated. So I did. I stopped calling. Stopped texting. Stopped posting online. When my mother reached out with fake concern. We're still family, Emily. I replied with a single word. Okay. They mistook silence for surrender. That was their second mistake. Lauren comes home. Lauren returned from Europe 6 weeks later. Broke. Sunburned. Still smug. She showed up at my apartment unannounced, dragging a designer suitcase that probably cost more than my car. You look tired, she said, stepping inside like she owned the place. Jet lag. I offered her water, nothing more. She talked for 40 minutes about sunsets in Santorini, men in Milan, how Europe really changes you. Then she smiled. So, Mom said you were upset about the trust fund. I met her eyes. You knew it was mine. She shrugged. You weren't using it. That sentence sealed her fate. The filing. 3 days later, Daniel filed the lawsuit. Carter v. Carter. Claims included breach of fiduciary duty, financial abuse, fraud, conversion of assets. We requested full restitution, interest, legal fees, removal of trustees, Criminal referral. My parents were served at 8:12 a.m. By 8:17, my phone was exploding. The panic. My father left 12 voicemails. My mother cried in every text. Lauren threatened me. You're ruining this family. I didn't respond. Instead, I forwarded everything to Daniel. Because threats look terrible in court. Discovery. That's when things got ugly. Bank records showed more than just Europe. Lauren's credit cards. My parents' home renovations. Private medical bills. Loans that were never repaid. They hadn't just stolen from me. They lived off me. The judge froze my parents' accounts within 2 weeks. Lauren's cards stopped working overnight. She called me screaming. I'm stranded. I smiled for the first time in months. Court day. My parents didn't look powerful in court. They looked small. My father's voice shook when the judge asked why trust funds meant for education and housing were spent on yachts and champagne. My mother tried to cry. The judge didn't care. Lauren testified last. She said she thought it was family money. The judge leaned forward. Did you ever ask whose name was on the trust? Lauren opened her mouth. Closed it. No answer. The ruling. The decision came 6 weeks later. Clear, brutal, final. Full repayment ordered. My parents personally liable. Assets seized. Retirement accounts liquidated. Home sold. Criminal charges referred. Lauren. Ordered to repay every dollar she personally benefited from. She filed for bankruptcy 3 months later. The aftermath. I received my money back, plus interest. But that wasn't the victory. The victory was watching the illusion crumble. No more perfect parents. No more golden child. No more excuses. They don't speak to me now. They tell people I chose money over family. They're wrong. I chose myself. The ending. Last month, I signed papers for my first home. Paid in full. I funded my own business. I sleep peacefully. And sometimes, when I see photos of Europe, I smile. Because that trip cost them everything. And taught me the most valuable lesson of all. Love that requires your sacrifice isn't love. It's theft with a smile. And